Worry lines can run deep. With increasing commodity prices, higher price volatility, and rising input costs, America's farmers rely on crop insurance to protect their crops and livestock. Crop insurance, providing peace of mind now and for the next generation of agriculture.
Congressman Ted Yoho, thank you for joining us.
It's my honor. Appreciate you coming by our office.
First of all, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your career before you started?
I've got a unique background. I've been a
Sure.
large animal veterinarian, meaning I work on, horses and cattle and the likes. I've been doing that for 30 years. University of Florida graduated in 1983, and I've just been fortunate to be able to work in agriculture for the last 30 years, actually since I was 16.
So what do you hear most from, not your customers, but the owners of the animals you treated? What did you hear most about government and federal policy from them?
Well, the biggest thing that we saw, and this was one of the motivating factors for me to come up here, was the uncertainty created by government policies, whether it was on the tax front, like the inheritance tax, or it was on the rules, regulations, and mandates, mandates coming out of EPA and regulations or rules that they had to abide by that were just really affecting the way they farm and ranch.
As your role on the Ag Committee, what's your main goal with that role?
My main role is, number one, limit the size of government and their interference and bring stability to the market so that producers will know how to invest for the next, not just 5 years, but 10 or 15 years. I want to work as hard as I can to bring that certainty to the market.
Will some of that certainty be accomplished through the Farm Bill?
Yeah, most definitely. We've been without a farm bill. They just did a temporary fix and extended it for a year. But it's something that if you're in production, and agriculture today is such a big business. You don't have the person out there with a 100-acre farm making a living like they used to in the old days. These guys have millions of dollars invested when they put in a crop. And so the certainty that comes out of the farm bill, like with crop insurance, it'll help ease a lot of minds.
Sure. And you represent the 3rd District of Florida?
I like to tell everybody we represent the best district of Florida, which is the 3rd District. It's north central Florida. We go up to the Georgia line, and we encompass 13 counties.
Are there any cross-border issues you need to solve being up against Georgia?
No, we invite them in.
Well, I mean,
the only cross-border
regulatory.
we have is they have the Georgia football team, the Bulldogs, and we have the
Sure.
University of Florida with the Gators.
I mean, transportation-wise and agriculture.
Every state has their own rules and regulations. I know when we ship cattle or dairy, different species, we have to abide by that state that we're entering in, and that's the way it should be,
Sure.
But as far as issues, they're real easy to work with. We also border Alabama on our western portion of the state.
Can you give us the makeup of your district agriculturally?
I can't give you the specific numbers. We have a large agricultural area that produces watermelon. Of course, Florida is #1 in watermelon production in the country, and we're proud of that. We do a lot of vegetables, a lot of corn, a lot of soybeans. We're pretty big in beef cattle. Dairy cattle is a large makeup, and of course, peanuts. Peanuts is huge in our district, and then we have a lot of poultry processing plants. It's just a great rounded out area of agriculture, and I'm proud to represent that area.
Do you have a specific set of goals for ag policy in your first term?
Yeah, we're working hard to repeal the inheritance tax. To me, that's a must for the family farm. We want to work on the nutritional programs within the Farm Bill, which accounts for about 80% of the spending in the Farm Bill. I'd like to pare down some of the programs within the Farm Bill, and they've done a good job in this bill that we passed out of the committee. We've streamlined it. There's streamlined 100 different programs, either reduced them or bunched them together, and this is the first time since about the mid-90s that we've had actual cuts. And the way it's written right now, we'll have $40 billion in savings, and we came up here to cut government spending and waste, and I think this is a good start.
Where did most of those savings come from?
The majority of them come from the nutritional programs, and our goal is to make sure we don't take 1 calorie off anybody's plate. So, in the way it's written right now, it won't do that. But our goal is we want to make sure that program is there for the people that truly need it. We want to weed out people that may be taking advantage of that program so that we can solidify it and secure it for the safety net that it was designed to be.
When it comes to the commodity title, what changes or what are you happy with so far?
On the commodity titles, you know, there's a lot of that's going to be up for debate on the House floor, and so you know, I look forward to hearing those debates on there. You know, sugar is always one that comes up that you know, we have to worry about, and the milk program that went through under Mr. Peterson's bill, we're going to look at that, and you know, that's going to also have some more input on that.
Okay. Can you give us an example of how the inheritance tax is affecting our ag producers?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've got a perfect example in our district. We had a farmer call up. This is the arbitrariness of the inheritance tax. If you go back and look at how it started, it was about 15 wealthy families in America that own a lot of property, and it started back then. And over the course of the last, say, 10 years, it's gone from no inheritance tax. They called it the George E. Steinbrenner year, because when he passed away, there was an inheritance tax, so nobody had to pay that. I've got a farmer right now. His grandfather passed away about 7 years ago. The inheritance was about $1 million that they had to pay to the IRS, the inheritance bill. His mother took the farm over. She passed away shortly, about 7 years later. The price of land went way up, and so now the inheritance tax is about $2 million. So here's a family that paid almost $1 million 7 years ago. The mother dies. Now they're paying over $2 million. This guy can't afford a farm, and he's offered to even give 200 some acres of the farm to the federal government, and they said no, we want to put a lien on the whole thing until you can meet this bill, and the guy can't farm. You know, so those are wrong, and it's an arbitrary tax. It doesn't fulfill the need that it was set out to, and it brings in less than 1% of our revenues to this country. So our goal is to get rid of it, 100% across the board. And if we can't do that, I'm working on a bill with Austin Scott out of Georgia to reduce the inheritance liability for farmers.
Are you optimistic about the chances?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't optimistic.
That's true. Can you tell us about what led you to run for Congress and what ultimately made you decide to do that?
Yep, my slogan was "Had enough." We had enough of the inefficiencies of government. We see so many things that have stayed broken for so long. Immigration's a perfect example. Here's a policy that is, for 30 years, Congress has failed to lead on this, and we've got an immigration crisis, some people would say. And for the United States of America not to have a good guest worker program for our ag community is unacceptable at this day and time. So, you know, there were so many things like that that I just said we need different leadership in Washington, and I look forward to be a strong hand in that.
Great, thank you. Has everything been what you expected so far?
Everything and more.
Okay.
And no, it's just been an honor to be here to represent the people of the 3rd Congressional District of Florida, the best district. And you know, I look forward to being a strong voice for ag for our state and for the country.
Congressman Ted Yoho, thank you.
Hey, appreciate it, Sarah.